Students, let's continue with the third section of the poem in memory of W.B. Yeats. And you'll notice that in this section of the poem, all the stanzas are of 4 lines. This section of the poem highlights the value of art, or we can say that Auden highlights the value of art, and uh, he also uh, gives a formal farewell to W.B. Yeats in this section of the poem. Earth received an honored guest. William Yeats is laid to rest. Let the Irish vessel lie, emptied of its poetry. Earth receive an honored guest. So, who is the honored guest? W.B. Yeats. So, now he'll be buried. William Yeats is laid to rest. Let the Irish vessel lie. Here, the Irish vessel stands for W.B. Yeats. He was an Irish poet, and Auden is comparing him to a vessel by using a metaphor. Let the Irish vessel here is the Irish poet W.B. Yeats. Let the Irish vessel lie, emptied of its poetry. So now he is like an empty vessel because now he is dead. He is emptied of its poetry. Time that is intolerant means time that is indifferent of the brave and innocent, and indifferent in a weak to a beautiful physique. Auden says that time remains indifferent, it is intolerant even of those who are very brave, those who are very beautiful, or those who are very innocent, and indifferent in a week. And within a week's time, within a week's period, what happens when a person dies? His beautiful physique, it turns into dust. So time is intolerant. And we, the human beings, we are just a part of, we can say, or like we are just like dust. Worships language and forgives everyone by whom it lives. Pardons cowardice, conceit, lays its honors at their feet. Worships language. So, time worships language means it worships the style and manner, means art survive. The manner in which a poem is written, the manner in which a poet writes poetry, that style, that manner, that survives. And even time worships it and forgives. Forgives whom? The poets. Everyone by whom it lives. So time forgives the poets for their weaknesses. Just like he for means he just wants to tell us, Auden wants to tell us that even time forgives W.B. Yeats, as he was a silly man, just like us. But why he is remembered, or why he is famous even today? Just because of his manner of writing. So, worships language and forgives everyone by whom it lives. Pardons cowardice, conceit, lays its honors at their feet. So, time pardons, time forgives cowardice or ego or any fault of the artist are forgotten if he has command over language and knows how to write beautiful poems or to sing things well, lays its honors at their feet, and it only cares for the beautiful use of language. So, Auden suggests that time does not care for what the poets said, but for the way they said it. Time will pardon time that, with this strange excuse, pardoned Kipling and his views, and will pardon Paul Claudel, pardons him for writing well. Then he further gives example. Auden says that time will pardon Kipling. Kipling was a British poet and a novelist, and he believes in imperialism and was a colonialist. And time will also pardon Paul Claudel. Paul Claudel was a French poet, and he supported the fascists and took wrong side during the Spanish Civil War. But time pardons both of them, Kipling and Paul Claudel, just because they write well, because they were good poets. One was a British poet and the other one was a French poet. So similarly, time will forgive Yeats also, and he will be remembered for the manner in which he writes his poetry. Then further, Auden writes, in the nightmare of the dark, all the dogs of Europe bark. In the nightmare of the dark. Nightmare of the dark means it was a terrible time when the world was on the verge of Second World War. The Second World War was about to break, and uh, nightmare is actually a dream of horror. So it was a terrible time. All the dogs of Europe bark. Here in this section of the poem, Auden uses lots of similes and metaphors, and he says that all the dogs of Europe bark. Here, dogs stands for the bloodthirsty dictators of Europe. So they were attacking each other, and all Europe is in the grip of the terror of war, and the bloodthirsty leaders of Europe, they are threatening each others. Different countries, nations live in isolation and in constant dread of each other. They don't trust each other, and their hearts are entirely dry of fellow feeling and sympathy. And the living nations wait, each sequestered in its hate. Sequestered means secluded. They set aside. They just there is no fellow feeling, there is no sympathy, and they dreaded each other. All the countries, they don't trust, the nations don't trust each other. There was no mutual trust, and only hatred and jealousy and injustice was prevalent during those days. Intellectual disgrace stares from every human face, and the seas of pity lie locked and frozen in the eye. So, students,